So I'm really excited. Today we're gonna kind of take a first step towards hopefully being successful apple growers. What we're gonna do is we're gonna eliminate all the cedar trees that are within sight of where we want to plant apple trees. We're gonna plant apple trees right here. From here down to the barn, down behind me there's gonna be a really nice row. Old varieties, new varieties, disease-resistant varieties, great storage apples, and we're hoping to get these in the ground in the next about 3 weeks. There's a couple big apple diseases, and I'm going to talk about just one of these today, and that's Cedar Apple Rust. For Cedar Apple Rust to damage your trees and for it to complete its life cycle, it has to have an apple tree, and it also has to have a cedar tree. Cedar Apple Rust is a fungal disease. It's most prevalent in the eastern part of the United States. We have the eastern red cedar out here. Where I live here, cedar trees are actually pretty uncommon. There just happens to be a stand on that pasture over there on our neighbor's property. There's about 30 of them. So this is going to be quite a job to accomplish. I've just got a couple hours, and so we'll see what I can get done. So I've got my chainsaw and my safety equipment here. All right, here we are, looking back at our little homestead. Do you hear Donald? We're like 200 yards away and you can hear him all the way over here. Cedar apple rust kind of overwinters on these eastern red cedar trees. And it does so in the form of these galls. And I'll show you that up close. There's a gall, and I don't know a lot about cedar galls, so it's possible this is actually another disease, but I'm pretty sure that's actually the organism that we're trying to get rid of. So in the springtime especially, spores from those galls can spread from the cedar trees to your apple trees. And the result is spotting yellow leaves, which can spread and cause early leaf drop and damage the health of your tree. And then there's actually significant damage that can happen to the fruit. And we're not just talking about, eliminating cosmetic blemishes. We're talking about ruined fruit in extreme cases. Now, how far do you need to kill cedar trees if you want to use the method we're using? The spores can actually spread like 1 to 2 miles. But from what I've read, most of the spores are only going to spread about 100 yards. So just by getting rid of these cedar trees here, we're going to hopefully take care of the majority of any problem we would have with cedar apple rust. There's a couple of approaches to controlling cedar apple rust for those of you who are interested in planting apple trees, and I hope some of you all will plant apple trees with us this spring. Number one is what most conventional growers do, is that they spray fungicide on their trees early in the spring. Organic growers even spray organic fungicides on their trees to control cedar apple rust. The second approach, and probably the best if you want to grow with a very low spray method, if you live in an area where there are so many cedar trees that you can't get rid of them all, is to just plant trees that have a innate resistance to cedar apple rusts. There's a bunch of trees, especially a lot of these newer, a lot of them university developed varieties that have a great resistance to cedar apple rust. Some of those trees that are listed as being very resistant to cedar apple rust are Liberty, Redfree, McIntosh, Baldwin, Jersey Mac. There's a lot of others I'm going to link an article from the University of Arkansas, and there's a lot of cedar trees in Arkansas, down in the description of this video. Check it out if you're interested. The third approach that we're using, if you live in an area where there's just kind of a scattering of cedar trees that are not highly prevalent, is to get rid of all the cedars. Now, I've listed these 3 approaches, but there's actually other approaches to controlling apple diseases. Michael Phillips has a book on holistic orchard care. He uses a totally different approach than even what organic growers use. His approach is actually to support the tree's own immune system, as he says. So most of his sprays that he uses are designed to actually increase the tree's own ability to fight off diseases. I love learning this stuff and just learning how you can be smart and make good decisions to decrease the amount of chemicals you use and increase your health and increase the health of your plants and your animals. This is like a tree graveyard. There's just dead cedar trees laying everywhere. But that means we are winning. All right, I'm headed back down to the house. Ooh, wait, look. I missed one. Okay, I got the last little one. So time to take a little break, and then we'll start hauling them down the hill. I know many of you all are going to ask, what am I going to do with all these cedar trees? And I haven't entirely decided yet. And there's not a lot that are really usable as far as like fence post size or milling size. Ow. So they're either going to get burned. There may be a few fence post worthy trunks in there. Otherwise, they're going to end up just being used as mulch and letting them rot. And the edge of our woods down here. You brought your ball. How are you going to work when you're holding the ball? So I need to figure out how to get these cedars down with the least amount of work. Fortunately, it's downhill. I found out while I was cutting them that they actually will roll, so I'm going to try that first. There it goes! That's awesome. It's like a giant Appalachian tumbleweed. I even saw the wind blowing down earlier when I was at the house. This one's not gonna roll because it was had a double trunk, and so it's flat on one side. So right now I'm just gonna pile them right here, and then I'll sort through them. Justice is way up there in those right there. Where is Justice?
In here.
Oh, there he is.
In my house.
They smell like Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Does it smell good?
Yeah. All those.
That's a white pine. Oh. Or what are what's? Oh, that's a gall.
Ooh.
You can hold it.
Which?
Yeah, you can hold it.
Yeah.
That's where the disease comes from.
It feels like a banana.
So if we get rid of all the cedars, we won't have any sick apple trees.
I don't want sick apple trees.
No, I don't either. All right, I'm gonna get to work. I'm trying to include Justice more and more when I'm doing work projects like this, when I'm able. He just seems to have a special appreciation for doing work with Daddy. All right, 2 down, about 28 to go. It is so pretty right now. The sun just kind of broke through the clouds up there. I'm gonna have to call it a day. I need to go down and wrangle the kids. Brianna has a little work to do in the goat barn. I've only gotten a handful of trees, but I can finish this project in the next couple weeks. Before we call it a wrap, I just wanted to remind you that we have a Patreon account. Patreon is a place where really passionate fans can support people who create artistic and video, all types of projects, podcasts. So if that resonates with you and you're interested in that, there's a link in our description below the video to check out our Patreon account. That was another great day on the homestead. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share us on Facebook if you haven't ever done that before. All right, y'all have a great evening.